Pastor John Gray just dropped a revelation about Toure Roberts that nobody saw coming, and what he said has left the gospel community speechless. Some call it shocking, others call it long overdue. But the truth? It's more complicated and more controversial than anyone imagined. Tonight, we uncover the secrets, the conflicts, and the side of Toure Roberts most people never see. You won't believe what happened next. For years, Toure Roberts has been one of the most talked about figures in the gospel world, admired by millions for his sermons, his charisma, and his influence. But behind the pulpit, whispers and rumors have been growing louder. Now, for the first time, Pastor John Gray is speaking out, revealing sides of Toure Roberts that many never imagined. What John Gray shared isn't just shocking, it's a glimpse into the controversies, the struggles, and the choices that have defined Toure Roberts' career. From disagreements with fellow pastors to moments that tested his faith and reputation, every revelation paints a picture that is as complex as it is revealing. Tonight, we're diving deep into the story that's been hidden behind headlines and Instagram posts, uncovering the truth that's been kept from the public for too long. You won't believe the twists and turns, the moments that left even church insiders stunned, and the personal truths that now finally see the light. And trust me, this is just the beginning. By the time we're done, everything you thought you knew about Toure Roberts will be questioned, and you'll understand why this conversation is sending shockwaves across the gospel community. Toure Roberts has long been celebrated as a dynamic preacher, a man whose sermons inspire thousands and whose influence stretches across cities and even countries. On stage, he radiates confidence, charm, and spiritual authority. His social media is filled with photos of smiling congregations, luxury, cars, and sold-out events. It's the kind of life many dream of: fame, respect, and influence. But Pastor John Gray, who has known Toure personally and professionally, hints that there's more beneath the surface. Behind closed doors, not everything aligns with the picture-perfect image. There have been disagreements over leadership styles, church strategies, and even interpersonal conflicts that have rarely reached the public eye. John Gray emphasizes that some choices Toure made in his personal and professional life sparked tension among peers, and sometimes it went beyond simple disagreements. As John Gray explains, it's easy to admire someone from the outside, but when you see the decisions they make and the consequences that follow, it changes your perspective. And what happens behind the pulpit isn't always what it seems. This is where the first shocking revelation begins to surface, a moment where the public persona and the private reality collide. Over the past few years, Toure Roberts has faced moments that put him in the center of debates within the gospel community. From controversial statements during sermons to disagreements with fellow pastors over ministry approaches, some of these moments have sparked criticism and admiration simultaneously. John Gray shares a particularly revealing story about a church conference where tensions flared between Toure and other well-known pastors. While the audience saw warmth and fellowship on stage, insiders witnessed heated exchanges, off-camera disagreements that were intense enough to raise questions about leadership, humility, and priorities. But it wasn't just these publicized moments. According to John Gray, there were instances when Toure's decisions led to strained relationships with other influential figures in the gospel world. These conflicts weren't tabloids or gossip columns. They were real, personal, and sometimes painful encounters that shaped both his career and personal journey. And yet, despite these controversies, his following continued to grow. This raises a question John Gray hints at repeatedly. How can someone maintain a spotless image publicly while navigating such turbulence privately? Behind the charisma and the sermons lies a man who has faced struggles few truly understand. John Gray opens up about moments in Toure's life marked by doubt, frustration, and immense pressure. There were seasons where the weight of expectations, both from the congregation and from fellow church leaders, took a toll. Toure's decisions during these moments, according to Gray, weren't always easy or straightforward. Some choices were celebrated, others criticized. But each decision, whether public or private, contributed to the complex figure he has become today. Perhaps the most shocking element that Gray shares is how Toure navigated personal setbacks while maintaining a thriving ministry. There were moments of near collapse, both emotionally and spiritually, that the public never knew about. John Gray describes these moments as pivotal turning points that shaped not just his ministry, but his character. And this is where the story takes a dramatic turn, because what happened during one of these private struggles would set off a chain of events that shocked even those closest to him. While Toure Roberts has captivated audiences on stage, Pastor John Gray reveals that some of the most intense conflicts happened behind closed doors. These were moments that tested friendships, alliances, and even Toure's own convictions. One particularly intense situation involved disagreements over ministry direction with other high-profile pastors. According to Gray, these clashes weren't just professional, they were personal. Decisions about church growth, financial strategies, and influence within the gospel community sparked debates that sometimes escalated into full-blown confrontations. John Gray describes one exchange as a room filled with tension so thick you could cut it with a knife, and it wasn't limited to strategy. Gray hints at tensions involving accountability, leadership ethics, and decisions that affected not only staff but members of the congregation. Some insiders worried these conflicts might cause lasting damage to relationships and reputations. Yet, publicly, Toure maintained his poised image, a calculated effort, perhaps, to shield the congregation from internal struggles. The real shock comes when John Gray details how some of these conflicts culminated in moments where Toure's decisions had consequences far beyond what anyone expected. These weren't minor incidents. They shaped alliances, influenced reputations, and even altered the trajectory of his ministry. By the end of this chapter, the audience is left wondering, how much of what we see is genuine, and how much is carefully curated for the public eye? According to John Gray, there was a single, defining moment in Toure Roberts' journey that altered everything: his personal life, his ministry, and the way peers viewed him. This wasn't just a minor controversy or a disagreement, it was a turning point that left even seasoned pastors stunned. During a private meeting with influential leaders in the gospel community, Toure made a decision that divided opinions. Some saw it as bold and visionary, while others questioned its wisdom. Gray describes the atmosphere. It was a mix of admiration and disbelief. People weren't sure whether to applaud or step back in caution. This moment exposed the tension between leadership and accountability, between public perception and private reality. It also revealed vulnerabilities that few had ever associated with Toure Roberts' doubts, fears, and a side of him rarely seen on camera. John Gray emphasizes that while Toure's ministry continued to thrive, the consequences of this turning point rippled throughout his relationships with fellow pastors, staff, and even close family members. The story isn't just about controversy. It's about the human cost of leadership and influence and the difficult choices that shape legacies. And just when you think you've seen it all, Gray teases another revelation, a behind-the-scenes insight that would challenge everything fans believed about Toure Roberts' rise and reputation. It's a revelation that has sparked discussions, debates, and even heated arguments within the gospel community. Pastor John Gray doesn't hold back when he describes the most shocking truths about Toure Roberts. According to Gray, there are sides to Toure's journey that few outsiders and even fewer followers could imagine. These are moments that go beyond public controversy, beyond disagreements with fellow pastors, into the realm of personal struggles and decisions that have shaped his life in profound ways. One of the most startling insights Gray shares involves Toure's leadership style. While many admire his charisma and the ease with which he connects to audiences, insiders reveal that he has, at times, made choices that caused friction within his own team. Staff members, according to Gray, have felt torn between loyalty to Toure and their personal convictions. These moments exposed a tension between ambition and responsibility, between public image and private accountability. Even more revealing are the personal challenges Toure faced while navigating these controversies. Gray explains that there were times when the pressure of maintaining a perfect image nearly broke him. Late nights, spiritual doubts, and the constant scrutiny of both peers and followers created a storm of emotions that most fans could never see. It was a side of Toure that clashed sharply with the confident, polished persona audiences adored on stage. And then, there is the revelation that has sent shockwaves through the gospel community. Gray hints at decisions Toure made in moments of extreme pressure choices that impacted not only his career, but the lives of those closest to him. These aren't rumors or exaggerations. They are verified moments witnessed by trusted insiders, that redefine how many view Toure Roberts. John Gray doesn't just leave it there. He challenges the audience directly, asking, "When you see someone at the top commanding respect and admiration, do you ever wonder what it cost them to get there? And would you be willing to face the consequences if you were in their shoes?" By the end of this chapter, viewers are left with a profound sense of curiosity and reflection. It's not just about controversy or scandal. It's about the human complexity behind leadership, influence, and faith. The final cliffhanger, Gray teases that there are further developments, private conversations, and insider details that may eventually come to light, promising even more revelations in the future. As we reach the end of this story, it's clear that Toure Roberts is far more than the charismatic preacher we see on stage. Through Pastor John Gray's revelations, we've glimpsed the private struggles, the conflicts, and the critical decisions that have shaped his journey, a journey filled with highs, lows, and moments that few could imagine. What makes this story truly compelling is the contrast between public perception and private reality. On one hand, Toure is celebrated by thousands, admired for his sermons, his leadership, and his influence. On the other hand, behind closed doors, he navigates challenges, disagreements, and personal dilemmas that test his faith, his relationships, and his resilience. This duality is what makes the narrative so human, so relatable, and yet so controversial. We've seen how disputes with fellow pastors, leadership conflicts, and personal struggles have shaped Toure's ministry and reputation. We've also learned that some of the most critical moments in his journey were invisible to the public eye, witnessed only by those closest to him. These insights force us to ask, how often do we truly understand the people we admire, and how often do public images hide the reality of human complexity? John Gray's perspective offers more than just gossip or controversy. It provides a lens through which we can examine accountability, leadership, and the personal cost of influence. It reminds us that even those who appear confident and untouchable face moments of doubt, conflict, and tough decisions. And it challenges each of us to reflect on our own lives, the choices we make, the pressure we face, and the persona we show to the world. Before we close, consider this. The story of Toure Roberts is ongoing. The revelations shared by John Gray are only part of a larger narrative, a narrative that continues to unfold, with new insights, challenges, and perhaps even more surprises ahead. For followers, fans, and the curious alike, these developments are not just news, they are lessons in faith, leadership, and resilience. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more insider revelations from the world of gospel leadership. Every week, we bring you stories that challenge perceptions, uncover hidden truths, and explore the human side of the people we admire most. And if you thought this story was shocking, stay tuned. Our next video will dive even deeper into the untold truths behind another controversial figure in the gospel community, a story that promises to challenge everything you think you know. Because in the world of faith, influence, and leadership, the truth is often more complicated and more compelling than it seems.